2025, KERA traveled down to Round Top, Texas for the second annual Round Top Film Festival. And while we were there, we captured interviews and conversations with some incredibly talented storytellers. This video is a presentation of the Rising Stars panel, where 5 emerging actors shared their journey to this point in their career. Subscribe to the KERA Arts YouTube channel for more original content, panels, and conversations.
My first question is going to be for all of you, and so I want to make sure that we know that this is a conversation. So ask each other questions and feel free to discuss. I want to know first job, first time on set, the who, the what, the when, the where, the how. Remember that? Rising Star? Was it so long ago, Ayden?
Well, my first job when I moved to Los Angeles was actually a non-union commercial that was like, we're not going to pay you, but we are going to fly you to Italy for free, which was cool.
Yes.
And it was like a study abroad company. So it was like all of us acting as if we were studying abroad. So we went to all these amazing places pretending to be in college studying abroad. And it was amazing.
How old were you?
22.
And you called everyone?
Do I what?
You called everyone after you booked it?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I was
right.
like, I'm going to Italy. Yes. That's amazing.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
That's really hard. So there's different phases. You always have like many different starts. Your first job. So do you want me to tell you my first LA job, my first New Orleans job, my first
Yeah, give me the first job, but then tell me the first time you were like, oh, I got a job.
Shucks, that's really hard. Okay, so my first job, or I guess the first thing I did acting-wise was I performed in a play called By the Way, Meet Vera Stark, and I think that was the confirmation that I said, hey, I want to be an actor. This is fun. I was rubbish. I was awful, but it was fun, and it was a great experience.
How old were you?
You're asking me numbers. I don't even know.
Like, were you in college or something?
I was in college. I had just graduated college. So I had to be 23, 24, something like that. 23. My first real, like, on-set job was Chicago PD. That's what it was.
Oh,
Yes, and I thought I made it. I was like,
that's right.
No, you absolutely did make
You
it.
did
What do you
make it.
mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
I made it.
You made it.
Yeah, I remember when I did Law and Order, and we were all sitting there, and my girlfriend was sitting next to me, and I said, oh no, and she said, what? And I said, the girl I have a scene with is dead. So I don't think that I'm in this show anymore. It's kind of bad news. What about you? First job?
Oh my goodness, it was also non-union.
Yes.
It was an eye broker commercial, and I was background. Yes. And it was at like a at-home little party, and I literally had like a water gun, and I just like, and I ran off, and I got paid $25.
Whoa.
Yes.
And we still have those $25.
Yeah.
My mom has
So
big
good.
plans for those $25.
Charlie?
My first job was a very long time ago, and I don't know if this is going to resonate with many of you due to where I'm from, but it was a commercial for a thing called Sabutio, which is a finger flick soccer game that,
Of course.
that no longer, I don't think, exists
Yes.
anymore. That's how long ago it was. Rising star, baby, still rising.
You killed the business.
I was 8 years old, and we got to shoot at like an actual football stadium, and I was pretending to be the coach of a football team. So they had like my hair slicked over, and I was in a suit with a big coat, and my dad's a big football fan, so that was the proudest he's ever been of me.
Oh, that's
No.
amazing.
No.
What about whenever you got a job where you went, oh, this is big. This feels big. This feels big. Do you know that
Big?
feeling? I mean, I remember, I grew up so poor. I remember when I first ordered from the right side of the menu. Do you know what I mean? Where I was like, oh, I'm not just splitting appetizers with people. I'm gonna have an entree tonight. I remember that. What was one of the first big jobs that you feel like the big win?
There are phases. There are like
Yes.
different phases,
Right.
but Maybe New Girl. I did a few episodes of New Girl, and it was one of my favorite shows at the
And
time.
one of the biggest show on television at that time, too. It was
Yeah,
a huge
and I
hit.
had it on like a vision board. I was like, I want to be on New Girl someday. And then I was like, I'm on New Girl. Whoa.
You manifest that. That's so beautiful.
Yeah, it was cool. It was really cool.
That's the phase thing. I mean, every time I would book a job, that was like the big thing to me, and I was making, more money than I'd ever seen. So me doing a co-star, I was like, I never made $1,000 for one day of work, and I was like, that is so great. Every job, that sounds like, but it was every job.
But still, every single job.
It's true.
It was like, oh my God, they're still paying me to act. That's so cool.
I still get excited by them. It doesn't get old.
We have the thing of, I guess when you go to America for the first time, that's a big step.
It's like the big leagues. Is that how they feel?
It feels that, yeah, it is. It's like, oh, we're getting on a plane for 11 hours and you're landing in Hollywood, and that's a moment.
What age were you when you first came to California, America?
That moment was, I was 18. It was a TV show called Red Band Society, where they wet shaved my head every single day at work. Wow. Because I was playing a cancer patient, so I remember I had a mole on my head too, and they just shaved it right off.
Oh,
You're
God.
Not joking.
Ouch.
They were just like, all right.
They allowed to do that?
Non-union.
They did it. Yes,
Non-union, they're allowed to do
It
that.
happened. It's gone.
Oh, what about you?
Oh, I mean, I agree. Every job is like a blessing, and we're just so happy to be on set all the time. But my first, I think the one that was like, I'm gonna pay for so many acting classes with this was my National Coca-Cola commercial.
Yes.
And so that one I was just like, this is helping me pay for classes, because until then, like, my mom was paying for everything, and so I started pitching in and doing that stuff, and so
cool.
I'm really grateful. But my first big job where I was getting paid really well was a sitcom that I did many years ago, The Expanding Universe of Pastor Garcia, on Netflix.
So good.
And that was like the first time I was in LA working, and I mean, I had the most amazing time meeting so many people. I was on cloud nine.
Oh, so good.
That's actually really cool that she did a National Coke commercial, because that was one of my first commercials as well. So we are like Coke twins.
Yes.
Hollywood, baby.
Hollywood.
Such cokeheads.
No, because I hear like a lot of people do Coca-Cola commercials. Selena Quintanilla did a Coca-Cola commercial, and so I'm just like, my mariachi instructor,
Yes.
who also works at Texas, and he did a Coca-Cola commercial too, and I'm just like,
Okay.
maybe.
I did a
that's good-
McDonald's commercial. They sell Coca-Cola.
I think that's
All right,
that's even better.
Yes,
There
they
we
do.
go.
It is a Coca-Cola restaurant, which is good. Now that the work is more steady, and you get to be slightly more selective, what has changed? What are you selective about when offers or auditions come up? What are you looking for, and what are you not looking for? How's that changed? Because when it's early, it's non-union, $25. The answer is yes.
Yeah.
But now you get to be a little more selective. What changes, Charlie?
I think I'm trying to. I mean, by the way, every time a job ends, I'm terrified that I'm never going to work again.
Yes.
Every single time.
Collective.
And that is happening all the time.
Yes.
Though, you do become aware of like, oh, what would I like to, what would I like to perform? What would I like to show? What would I like to express within myself that I'm not able to? So, if you've come off the back of playing, I don't know, a sweetheart, for instance, you're then trying to push yourself to play someone a bit more on the edge, a bit more, texturally interesting.
Yeah, different
perhaps.
temperament.
Yeah.
I want to explore that.
So that's the kind of choice that I'm trying to toy with right now.
That's good actor choices to do that.
I feel like I've always been picky. I always audition for everything, but now I'm really just drawn to characters and how in depth they are. And I'm so lucky that every role that I've gotten has a very positive light to the Latino community, and I'm very much an advocate for that. And so I look out for how it's gonna not only affect me but affect my community, and I'm representing them, and I find that very important. So I always keep that in mind.
I remember when I saw your performance in the long game that we did together. Those parts sometimes you feel like if he's the golfer, he's the star, he's the one that wins, and you go, oh, am I the girlfriend? Am I the sidecar? And that's something that you didn't do with that at all. You really turned it into a three-dimensional person, and it elevated the piece so much. I mean, I remember seeing you and thinking, oh, that's the real deal.
Thank you. I mean, I take my mom as the biggest example of can we curse? Can we
Who's
curse here?
stopping us?
Yes.
Not taking shit from anyone,
Yes.
creating your own narrative, not needing a man to be happy or to be successful. And I think Daniela, in the long game, she was very much ahead of her time in that,
Yes.
and very sticks to her guns. And so I definitely saw my mom in her, and I mean, also me. And so every role that I take on, I learn something so new, and I find it very therapeutic.
You said that. Well, let me ask you this. What are you being selective about?
I also have always been very selective because I felt like in those first few years, I don't mind being broke as long as I'm doing the stuff I want to do, because I think you want to set yourself up for, kind of how you're perceived. If you're just saying yes to everything and doing stuff you're not proud of or you feel bad about, that's kind of the stuff you get stuck in. And I come from comedy, and I really want to do more drama. And I have a film here playing tomorrow. That's one of my first dramatic leads. So that was really fun, and I want to do more of that. And what's that? Oh, it's called Honeyjoon. It's screening tomorrow afternoon.
So you should have watched it, everyone.
Go see Honeyjoon.
Yeah.
And I'm writing and producing stuff, and because at some point you just go, I have to make my own stuff, because they're not just gonna
Right.
find the right role for you. But,
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah.
I've been told there's a lot of aspiring actors or entertainment people in this industry, and we've all, I think I can speak for all of us, when we first started, you just take whatever, because it's like you need to get your face out there. And I was that person just trying to audition or just trying to find my way into it. And I had all these ideas of like, oh, there's a real world audition. I'm going to try for real world, and then they're going to want me for this and then want me for that. And I'm glad I didn't get that. So I tried out for everything, and God has placed me in certain places that I think He put me on the right direction. And then when you get around like-minded people or people that you want to aspire to be like, you start to understand exactly, oh, this is what I want, and I become selective in that regard. And now when I look at roles, I look for the filmmakers, see who's making the films, what type of story. One of my mentors told me, he said, don't go because the character's cool. Do it because the script is great. And even if you have a small part, you make that small part, as memorable as possible. She made a three-dimensional character with her part, and is memorable. And I'm pretty sure that opened up doors for you, and I think it happened for all of us. So when I'm looking at a project, I audition for everything. I never say no for anything, for anything. And I know what I'm going to say no to if it gets to that point, but I still say, all right, let me audition to it. And there's been times when my team is like, what the? You know what the state of the industry is right now. You have to take something. There's not much going out there. And I'm like, well, that's not really what I'm. Well, why would you audition for? I told her I didn't want it. You know what I mean? But I have a very clear idea and vision board like you set up, and that helps me select what I want to do. But I will say, for anybody who's listening, I say this in every interview, I want to do a rom-com. I want to do a romance film. I'm like that's I would love to do it next. That's something that's my guilty pleasure. So I'm just putting that out there.
We're all manifesting that for you. Rom-com.
Yeah, that's happening.
Ayden's going to write one for you.
All right, it's a rom-com.
Okay.
That's amazing.
Which leads me to this question. So when I first started, actors, the cliche was actors would always say, like, my goal is to direct. That used to be the cliche. But now it's really common. I mean, it's so common for actors to really be, I teach and I'm an educator, and I talk about actors, and I say, you can't just be an actor anymore. You have to be a performance maker. You make performance. You make them. And so Talk to me about making things, and what have you learned from being on the other side of making things? And for the rest of you, do you have interest in more making, and what are you making? And is writing, directing, producing, all those things of interest to you?
Well, I will say when you first make something like a short film, there's a quote about this from someone, I forget who it is, but there's a gap between your taste and your ability. So you know what you want to make, and then you see it, and you're like, that's not okay. But it's just continuing in this. And I do want to add, I do audition for almost everything unless I'm offended by it. And in the beginning, really did too, because it's just about getting a million at bats until you get good enough to be like, I have experience, you know. But making stuff really helps you understand that so much of this isn't personal.
Yes,
you know,
yes,
casting,
yes.
when you don't get a part and you're like, I wasn't good enough, that's not true at all. It's like you don't have the like stoner look they wanted or whatever, you know. And now that I've sat in on casting things, I'm like, oh, the person that was best for the role actually didn't get this. The guy that walked in after him actually just felt like the guy we pictured. So it's not about being the best actor.
Yeah, you do realize when you're on the other side that there's actually an excess of talent in the world.
Yeah.
Access is rare. Talent is not.
That's a good point.
Talent is very common, actually. There's so many people, so many talented people in this room right now. It's access that becomes really hard. That becomes really, really hard. Because we all know people who are really talented, yes? Who maybe didn't have the right access at the right time. So they're at home right now.
Talented people in my acting class did not go on
Yeah.
to have careers. It's like impossible to know.
Yeah, it is. It's so impossible.
It's interesting what you're saying though about how because I get tormented and have been throughout my entire life, tormented by the casting process of like of oh my God, why
Yeah.
And then I made a short film which I wrote and directed, and a bunch of people sent in self-tapes, which I was very grateful for, and it comes on immediately, and I'm like, nope.
Wow.
Within the first like 10 seconds.
Oh
you're
my
like,
God.
I know I'm cut.
You're a monster.
I know. No, but I eventually was like, what are you doing? And you watch the whole things, and you're like, no, I'm right. They're not, because there is just a feeling that and you know when it's the right person. So it's useful to make things to understand the industry, and also to understand everyone's roles within it, because like you said, Tarzan, when you're choosing a part, you start to become aware of like, actually, who do I want to work with? What have they made before? What can they bring to the table? When you make your own stuff, you start to become aware of like, oh, I know what good writing is now, and I know what good directing is now, and I know that I'm not a good, not as good a director as I want to be, you know what I mean? And I know what I want from a director. I know what I want from a producer. It's a vital part of the industry now.
Yeah, it is.
Also, you lack so much agency as an actor.
I know.
Your performance is rarely yours by the end, you know.
yeah, you have the least control over everything.
So making things is you get control.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
nice.
You're doing so much in San Antonio too, with advocacy and the things like this. I mean, you're making all kinds of things.
Oh, no, I feel like I'm not enough.
Yeah.
But I do. I think the beautiful part about working and being on set is that you meet so many other creatives and you connect, and you discuss about working in the future, and so you have all those meetings with them. And
Right.
I mean, I met one of my best friends on Landman, and she's also a writer, and so we have been sitting down a lot, and I have rights to a book that I really want to tell the story
Yes.
of, and so we're sitting down, we're getting to know people and just starting to pitch stuff, and so that is something that I'm very passionate about, and in telling Texas stories, our stories, it's very, very important.
And Tarzan, you also are a passionate education advocate.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I was a teacher before I became an actor. I love kids. Anything.
First grade.
I used to be a first
grade teacher.
Once you get past like 5th grade, I'm like,
Yeah. No way.
no. I actually taught. The highest I taught was like 4th grade, and I was like, let's bump it down a grade or two. They're easier. You can tell them like, I'm gonna flip your card, and they're like, okay, Mr. Davis, I'll be good. So I'll stick in that realm. But I work with all ages now when it comes down to the youth, because I'm a firm believer of manifestation, and anything you want, you can truly accomplish. And I believe my life is a manifestation. When I was young, I wanted to be an actor, but nobody in my family was an actor, so I didn't pursue it. It was like going to the NFL or NBA. It seemed like the odds were very slim until one of my kids asked me because I used to preach to them, what do you want to be when you grow up? You can be anything, because we tell kids all the time, you can be an astronaut, you can be a doctor, you can be this, blah, blah, blah. Then they get to a certain age, and then we stop telling them that. Then we start saying like, oh no, let's be realistic. And I had people in my life that say, let's be realistic. And that's one of the reasons why I didn't make it to the NFL, because I was a dog at football. I could have made it. LSU didn't want me though.
Yeah.
But you know, people start telling you these things. So I tell the youth, no, forget that. You can do it. And one of my kids said, well, what did you want to be when you got older? And I said, I wanted to be a teacher. And she was a smart one too. She was like, no, you didn't. Teachers are stupid. What did you really want to be? And I was like, I wanted to be an actor. And I was like, I keep telling these kids, follow your dreams, and I'm not doing it. So I said, I'm gonna give myself 2 years. And I stopped teaching. I gave the whole spiel. They cried. I cried. It was a whole thing. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna be an actor, and I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna show y'all that it's possible. The stupidest thing you can do is give yourself a timeline. I gave myself 2 years, but God was with me in those 2 years to give me that push, and I kept going. So now every year I go back with one of my films, and I put on a screening for my students who are graduating in 2 years now. They were first graders.
Wow.
So that's gonna be fun. My first commencement speech. I feel like I'm gonna go there like it's a college, and I'm like, hey, and you know. But I put on a screening for them in other schools around New Orleans, and they come and see it. And I just get to say, like, yo, I used to walk the same streets as y'all in New Orleans. I used to do X, Y, and Z from New Orleans. We ate the same places, and now I'm living out my dream, and you can do the exact same thing. So
I love that.
yeah.
Well, and I will just say, they love to tell you when you're in acting school, like, only 1% of actors are working, and if you can do anything else, you should do something else. And it's like, don't listen to that. Just decide you're going to do it, and it takes years. And just know that you're not doing anything wrong. You have to get good at auditioning. That takes years. It's going to be so long to get good at auditioning.
Yeah, when
I was just about to say, once you switch your mindset, this is something I read in a book, and I thought it was so powerful. You're not doing a 6-month career. You're doing a 60-year career.
Amen.
So if you keep that in the forefront of your mind, then when you miss 1,000 auditions in that year and you don't book anything, you realize, well, I got 59 more years to try. You know what I mean?
Part of your story.
Yeah, it's part of your story.
Yeah.
I told my agent recently, I said, hey, Steve, we're at the very beginning of the middle of my career.
It takes a
right?
while.
So this is the Rising Star Showcase Award, and you've had a chance to work with people who are former Rising Stars, who are now literal legend movie stars. What have you learned from them? Have they given you advice, or just watching them work? Give us some great stories about some of these great people you've worked with.
I mean, there have been obviously many moments where the older brilliant actors that I've been lucky to work with have, like, you know, sat down and given me advice, but there have also been these sort of slightly more intricate moments that I found useful as an actor. One being specifically Mark Rylance, who I worked with on a TV show called Wolf Hall, who is just one of my favorite actors, and completely incredible, and subtlety is his world, and I was playing his son, and so I was able to just watch him all the time, and it was quite creepy, and I spoke to him one day because I had a scene with him which went terribly in my eyes. Nothing hit the mark, and I couldn't sleep the night after, and I was calling my family and being like, oh my God, Mark hates me, I ruined the scene, you know, this is the moment gone, damn, I blew it. And left the hotel the next day, and they were like, oh, you're getting in Mark's car. And I was like, oh, what? Oh God, no. Okay. So I got in the car and Mark was there, and he was like, oh, good morning, Charlie. hello.
Oh.
And he was like, something's weighing on you. And I told him, and he just gave me this bit of acting advice, which I now use every day when I'm acting. And I don't know if there are any actors listening. This is sort of solely for you, I suppose. A useful technique that I did not know at the time. But he said, just before they roll, breathe, which you'd be surprised how little I do that. And smell the room, smell what's happening.
Oh,
like,
so good.
Tap into your senses. And you'd be surprised at how present that makes you. It makes you very present in a way.
Ground yourself.
I mean, it's simple grounding. You're right, but for some reason, when Mark Rylance says it to you, it was the only time I've ever listened to anyone telling me to ground myself.
Yes, exactly.
But it's been for me the most useful specific acting technique for me. It's just like actually tap into your senses, tap into the room, what's floating around you.
Oh, so
You'd be surprised how much you can smell. You can smell some weird stuff if you focus. Smell some weird things. This room is, whew.
Yeah. Paulina.
Oh my goodness. I mean, I've been working with some really incredible people, some icons. I've worked with Cheech Marin, Billy Bob Thornton, Demi Moore. The list goes on. And I mean, it's very intimidating walking into a room, doing a scene with them. But then on the day, it's not. They make it so easy to talk to them, to work off of each other, and there's so much respect for the craft and the stories that we're telling. I wish I had like a specific moment, but I'm very much an observer, and I just like to watch people work. Sam Elliott is joining our season.
Whoa.
Absolutely incredible, and I just got to watch him work. I was like a fly on the wall for one of the scenes, and I just got to like listen to him talk, and it was just so beautiful. And I think it is really taking in your environment that does help. And you know the character so well. You do your prep, you do all the work. On the day, you really throw it away, and you just live and find new things about the character.
Wow. Yeah, there's so many. What's interesting is I feel like the highest level, most impressive actors I've worked with are very rigorously normal and down to earth. It's the one, they're not acting like they have something to prove. They're not acting like celebrities. They're not throwing their weight around, which I really appreciate, because I think when I first entered, I was like, am I supposed to act like an actor? Am I supposed to act cool or like a certain way? And they're just normal, like dirty sneakers, driving their kids to school kind of thing.
Right.
And this is specifically for comedy, because I come from comedy, I come from improv, and the point of it is always, how do I make this funnier? How could I improvise based on this character and do crazy stuff? And I was working with Molly Shannon, who's one of my heroes, and and love her. And she told me this story, like the way she approaches comedy. She said there was this. She had heard this story about this play where there was a veteran actor and a newer actor, and in the beginning of the run, there's a really dramatic scene, and the newer actor asks for coffee, and it gets a big laugh. And then by the end of the run, it was getting less and less laughs, and the newer actor said to the veteran guy, "It's so weird, I was getting all these laughs in the beginning, and now no one laughs." And the veteran said, "Well, that's because at the beginning you were asking for the coffee, and now you're asking for the laugh." And she was like, just ask for the mean what you say, which seems so obvious, and maybe to dramatic actors that's very obvious, but coming from comedy, I was like, oh yeah, just like be a person who means what you say.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. My students get tired of me saying, really do what you're really doing for real. Really.
Yeah, not like showing you're doing it, but being
yes.
like, I need coffee, like
That's
I
right.
really need it.
That's right.
I just had a moment recently where, and I don't come from a comedy background, but I was doing this play with Rafe and with Harriet, and a line that I was saying in the rehearsal room was killing for some reason. And I have never felt a feeling like that when the whole room's laughing, and you're like, oh, I'm funny. And then night one, I say it the way I've been saying it: silence, crickets, nothing. And that's so. Thank you for that advice. I did eventually get laughs on that line throughout the run. I figured it out, but there was a fair few days when.
That's a brutal
It's
silence.
scary, yeah, when you're not getting the laugh. Yikes, yeah.
Tarzan, tell us.
Comedy is hard. I want to say comedy is tough. I would love to have a chance at it, but then again, I don't, because I would feel so embarrassed if y'all didn't laugh.
There are several writers. They're working on a rom-com right now for you. Just don't worry.
The rom-com is different. I can fall in love. What you just said, doing something for real as if you're really doing it. I love to write that down for me. That was
Yes,
good.
I will.
I worked with an actor. His name is Shea Wiggum, and he really helped me, guided me, taught me that right there. He was like, dude, stop acting, just fucking do it, brother. And I was like, okay, and I did, and he was like, that's acting, you're just doing it. But you just made me think about that. But the person who I was fortunate enough to work with, who became my mentor, was Tom Cruise, and he's told me a lot. I just like to pick his brain, and I would go to set when I wasn't working. I would just follow him around, him and Christopher Corey, and I would just sit there and just study and observe and learn. And I would just ask so many questions, and that's one of the tough questions. Like, well, what's the one thing that Tom has told you that's profound? And I'm like, well, I can't say one thing because there's just so many. So what I think I can say, watching Tom, because Top Gun was one of my first things. I did a TV show, and then I got Top Gun, and I was like, oh, this is what the introduction to being an actor is like, something like what you said. And I was blessed enough to have somebody like Tom to set the bar of excellence and the passion for your craft and how you conduct yourself. And if I would have had another, because oftentimes we have these people who set the example for us, and we're like, oh, that's how I'm supposed to behave. I'm supposed to act like this as a snooty actor. I'm supposed to behave like this. But Tom is so gracious, so kind, so loving. So, he's just a great person. And the care that he gives to everybody on set, I was like, okay, that's how I need to be conducting myself in my career. And the number one question I always ask him is, how did you become a movie star? Because I'm shooting towards that. And he would tell me, but it's about just loving and putting the audience first. And I guess it's not something that he's told, but it's just the example that he set. So I try to set that same example that I've witnessed from TC. So
there is something very special about when you work with those superstars or those movie stars. And forgive me for name dropping here, but I just worked with George Clooney and Sandler on this film, J. Kelly, which is showing tomorrow night. It's the closing film, which is very exciting. And there is, I swear I'm in it. But being on set with those two, and it's the ability to turn it on, to just be completely relaxed and be completely kind and calm with every single person on set. And I mean every single person. George is cracking jokes with this, that, and the other. Adam too. And then the cameras turn on and they know where they need to be and they say their lines. And it's just professionalism, and it's a beautiful thing to watch, but it can be very rare in Hollywood, because of everything that comes with it. But when you see people who are masters of turning up on time and making people feel good, it's really inspiring.
Oh, I'm so happy that you're all here and that you're so honest and kind and generous with your thoughts and your stories. I'm fortunate enough to be an actor, but I'm also a teacher. I'm so lucky, and I teach in the stage and screen program at Texas State University. And Round Top Film Festival was kind enough to invite my seniors. So the seniors are here. Hello, where are you? Yeah. Hey. And so I know they're going to have some questions because it's really about the distance from where they're sitting to where you're sitting. And this distance can sometimes feel like the Grand Canyon. So I want to open up some questions for the audience, and I hope some of my students will ask you some questions too.
I want to say one thing. Where you're sitting, we sat.
Yes.
And that's the coolest part about it. we sat right there. You know what I mean? Like and I used to love that because that's a part of your story. That's your 60 years right there, man. In year 7, I was sitting in the audience. You know what I mean? My year 13, I was on the stage. Oh, no, the year 13, I was working a venue. The year 20, I was on the stage. You know what I mean? And so that's the whole point of this journey. It's so beautiful. And I can tell you we can all share the times where we were like, I was working at that venue and now I got invited to that venue.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
Crazy moment.
Man, it's right there. It's not far at all. It's not far. You only make it far in your mind because you start calculating the seconds and the minutes instead of saying, I love the process of it. I love being in places where I don't belong just yet because I know I do belong. It's just you don't know that I belong.
Yes.
So you didn't have my email to send me the invite to come.
Yes.
Whatever.
I'm finding this very inspiring.
I know, it's good. It's so good. All right. Yes, thank you.
Hi. So I had a question about when we were thinking and talking. You were talking about he's in Rocket Man, which is like my favorite movie of all time. I'm really nervous seeing you. I just had to say that before I asked my question, but it's kind of related. The actor who played Elton John, Taron Egerton, he had a background in singing, and it kind of made me think of the difference between that and like Queen, and how the actor who played the drummer in the Queen film, he didn't know anything about drumming, but he just like lied and said he could and was like, I'll figure it out. So I'm wondering, are y'all the type of actors that when you have something on your skill set, do you go, I'll figure out how to yodel? Like, I just want this job. Or do you spend your kind of off time learning new skills, kind of honing those skills? And if you do you find that there's a reoccurring skill that you're like, everyone's asking if I can yodel. I need to learn how to yodel, or whatever it may be. Do you find that you're trying to hone other skills like piano, drums, singing, anything like that, and any important kind of key skills, I guess, outside of acting?
I mean, I don't speak on behalf of everyone, but always say you can do the thing. Because if it's a big enough part or a big enough film, they will help you do the thing. And you know, if it's a small part and you need to learn to play the piano and you've got 3 weeks to do it, you can do that if you sit down every day and learn. You know, I had to learn. I do play music, so in terms of singing and guitar and things like that, I can do that for parts. Though I'm not Jimi Hendrix or anything, but I can. But luckily, I'm not in the running for that biopic. Thank you. I had to learn how to play Happy Birthday on the piano, and it had to be good, like a sort of jazz rendition. And I had 2 months to do it, and my friend came around, and we sort of learned it, and we sort of did it. But I just. I don't think you need to be fencing on your weekends to like...
Right. Rock climbing.
I tell you, if one of y'all said, hey, we need a bull rider that can lasso, I ain't a country boy, but yes, I can. No, honestly, the thing is, we think that you have to be a master at these skills, and you really don't. You just have to be competent enough to do it. Just show them you can do a little something and make them fall in love with you. They're not going to, it's not that they're going to not hire you because you can't yodel. They're going to hire you because you're just not right for the part, or you just don't have the essence. So just say yes and try to yodel as best as you can. But
God damn it, he's got the part.
Exactly. Make them fall in love with that beautiful smile. Make them fall in love with your charisma. Make them fall in love with you as a person, and they're going to say, "We'll figure it out." She can't yodel. We can have somebody voice over and yodel. They will have me voice over for you.
So good at yodeling.
It's so true. If they love you, they'll make it work.
Question for all of you who worked in both film and television. What are the challenges between working between the two mediums? Which one do you prefer and why?
Well, I have found recently that doing more dramatic film, everybody's whispering. Are you guys just whispering all the time?
That's the key to dramatic acting.
It
solves every problem.
weird.
Just whisper.
I'm like,
That is
I
correct.
drive a Volkswagen Jetta,
is
and it sounds very important.
what I mean, because it's so much more natural than TV, and so that's been interesting.
That's amazing. I love that.
I think the whispering thing happens a bit too much, though, now. I feel like we're at a point where it doesn't...
We're
even-
over whispering.
We're over whispering, yeah. We're all...
That's the old thing that we do now.
I find, and television, it all moves much quicker. I tend to find, unless you're working with someone who's got the ability to sort of, I don't know, spend a lot of money or express their sort of true auteur elements, there tends to be a lot more coverage happening in television than in film. So you are moving quickly from different angles, and so sometimes actually the repetition in TV is something that I find quite challenging, because you tend to do things a lot, whereas in film there's a lot more space in the day, and you realize that acting is just about waiting.
It's a good way to put it. Space in the day.
Right?
I like that.
And you're there in your trailer for 6 hours, and then they go, "We're ready for you." And you're like, "Okay, I need to go into the corner to do my warm-ups." And they're like, No, we're ready now." And you're like, "Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay."
Like, but I've been watching Love Island for 6 hours. I've had a lobotomy and I don't know how to act anymore. They say hurry up and wait, because you're waiting, and then they're like, now, what are you doing? You're late. And you're like, what? Oh God, I gotta get to set.
I am curious if you have any directors you would love to work with and like really excited about, and if so, why? Like which ones?
The list is so long. It's like, oh my goodness.
Directors we want to work with or that we have. I so want to work with Greta Gerwig. I really
Same.
do. Or Yorgos Lanthimos.
It's
Oh my
amazing.
God.
I'd love to work with. It would be amazing if he was here. Joachim Trier, who just made a movie called Sentimental Value and made The Worst Person in the World.
Oh.
And
That movie.
and his films just kill me. And it's the type of stuff that it killed me in a good way. And it's the type of stuff that I want to be doing. Yeah. But the list is so long, and none of the names are coming to me right now. I mean, there are classics, obviously, and there are like, Scorsese, call me.
Yes.
Yes.
At our university, there's a big emphasis on finding the joy in the work, but what do y'all do when you find yourself feeling burnt out or not finding the joy in the work anymore? What do y'all do to kind of remedy that and take care of yourselves and not get burnt out?
Ooh.
That's such a good question. I feel like you go first.
So there's this booklet that I feel like a lot of us have heard of, The Artist's Way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That is so great. Morning pages, taking yourself on an artist date, solo date, take yourself to a museum, take yourself to a concert. I think that refreshes you. Just be selfish. Honestly, take care of yourself. Get yourself a massage. Just literally do nothing.
Yeah.
And if you have thoughts, write them down and burn them.
Yeah, because the first piece of advice I always give to young actors is get a good therapist and take care of yourself, because I mean, at least I'm very sensitive. I burn out easily, and this year I've been back to back on location because nothing shoots in LA anymore. So I'm just like, I was starting to be like, I don't even want to perform. I feel crazy, and had to just set aside a few days where I'm doing nothing and I'm talking to friends and I'm in a hot tub or like whatever. Otherwise, I'm going to be a kind of a nightmare to be around, I think.
I also burn out really easily. So
I often, for myself, I often find whenever I'm feeling that burnout, it's because I'm trying too hard. And I'm trying to control things that are not in my control.
Well.
And it just gets so frustrating. You know, you're like, why isn't this happening? Why isn't that happening? Some people will probably say I'm a micromanager. I wouldn't say that. I've never been a manager in my life, except for my fantasy football team, which I'm doing pretty well at. Yes. But I find like I'm just trying to grab something and it's not there. And when I say, okay, step back, what can you control? What can you control in this moment? I find I have that release. So that's like taking yourself on dates. I love going to the movies. So I go to the movies by myself all the time, and I just sit there and I just let everything go. So, maybe, people should evaluate what's where that what was the word he said? Is that what did you just say? I can't even. The The burnout, that's the word. Where's that stemming from? And for me personally, it comes because I'm trying so hard and I'm expending so much energy on something and it's not happening. And you just gotta.
Did you just cure my stress and anxiety?
Oh, so smart.
Yeah, that resonated far too much. I think, yeah, the sort of the artist's dates of like, I mean, watch films. Just, you know, they're so fun, and they're so good, and there's so many of them, and you can just fall away, and it's beautiful. Also, I think having something that you enjoy that's not in the industry is vital. You know, for me, that's like music. Just sitting down and trying to express myself creatively in a way where there's no pressure. Because I mean, I do find I clearly don't have quite the mental health quality that Tarzan has, but
Same.
but I one day, the gap's not far, man. One day, you know, it's a hard. It can be a very hard and damaging industry on your self-worth, and it's important to know that you can do something creative that is not reliant on getting a job.
Yes.
That's my tip. And you know, and ginger shots. I'm having a lot of them.
But that's such a good point about not putting your self-esteem on a silver platter for Hollywood to give or take away. It's you have your own life, your own friends, your own things that are exciting to you that are not just getting hired, you know. It's important.
Hi. So kind of on that same vein, I was just thinking about that the times where like you don't really get the jobs that you're wanting, or I did it. The jobs just aren't coming to you, and kind of like what do you do during those times, and what kind of other jobs do you pick up other than like acting jobs, I guess?
Be very smart with money. Somebody said it earlier about like the jobs coming in. Jobs aren't coming in. You know, after you finish a job, you sit there, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to work again. So you want to be smart with money so that you can eliminate the stress of like, I need a job to pay for this thing. And another thing, I read a lot, and I like to read like biographies and stuff like that about people, not just as actors, but in performers and hearing their stories. Because you brought up the burnout thing as well, and made me think about it. Like, all of these people struggle to get there, and that's what keeps me going when those auditions aren't working out, when it's just dry and I'm not hearing from my team, and that's what stops me from sending them, 100 text messages and 100 emails. I send them about 90, but I don't get to the 100 because I start reading. I'm like, oh, okay, they went through that too, and it'll happen,
Yeah, because someone when I first started was like, look, it takes about 5 years to even start a career, and it takes about 10 to have it moving at all. And so that time needs to be filled with having a life and getting experience, so that when you are called to perform something, you can draw from stuff and take yourself on artist dates. And I worked at a restaurant, just.
Yeah. So, I actually heard something recently from a friend of mine who I worked with. I think this relates to the question that I've forgotten, but she was saying that, as an actor, she's a wonderful actress, and she said, you give yourself you give yourself fully, emotionally, physically, to parts, and you can forget to do that for yourself. And if you're not doing that for yourself, then you can't bring anything to a part, because there's no point acting if you don't have a life, or if you're not living in this world, because the only way you can do it is if you're actually witnessing things that are happening and experiencing your own life. So that kind of blew my mind when she said that, and I hope that is related to what you asked.
And you have to love acting more than being an actor.
Oh, yeah.
You have to love writing more than being a writer.
Yes.
And so many people want to be actors. They're just not very interested in acting. And so then they find out that, being an actor is a byproduct of doing the job.
Yes.
And
yeah.
it's so critical. So if you fall in love with the doing, then you can always do it. You can always do it, even if someone doesn't pay you to do it. It's always nice when somebody pays you to do it, believe me.
But like putting up a play with your friends just because you want to try something.
Absolutely.
Yeah, make it. You got to make it yourself. You have to make it yourself. There's no point waiting for things. You got to make a short film with your friends. Shoot something on the weekend. It's fun.
Hi, I know y'all touched on waking up the senses before you get on set, and I was kind of just wondering what the last thing you do or say to yourself before you're flown in is.
Before what? Sorry.
Before you're like flown into your final mark, last places.
Okay.
I like to mess up immediately because there's something about worrying about getting it wrong that makes me turn into a robot that can't have fun at all. And so if I just mess up and go like, sorry, I fucked up, can we try that again? Then it's like, okay, we're all just people, we're all talking, it's fine.
Yeah, so smart kid.
I agree. I mean, I like that too. As a sports person, I used to play sports, and the initial tip-off or the kickoff, it was always nerve-wracking. And then you get that first hit or that first missed shot, and you just feel comfortable. What I tell myself before, I don't know. I think it's different every time, depending on the character that I'm playing. Whatever role it requires. But I have this thing where I like to loosen up my body, so I do weird stuff, and just to get all of that tension out of me.
I think it depends on the job. I feel like with Landman, music was like my anchor. And so I was always listening to music, especially the first season. It was a very emotional roller coaster. And so breathing, also box breathing, because it was like there were so many crying scenes. I was like, okay, I can't put myself in that terrible headspace each time for each take when we're taking a whole day to shoot one scene where I'm crying the whole time. And so there's like a breathing exercises where you just like do really heavy breathing and just like small breathing, and then that helps ignite the tears. So it's like tricking your body into thinking you're in that state. And I think aftercare is also super important. Music also helped me with that. So yeah.
Meditating too. I always meditate in my trailer, so I'm like kind of taking charge of my mental space, not just letting anything come in there,
Yeah, it's this weird balance of play and calming, and I think that relates to what I was saying about Jay Kelly and George and Adam. With the sort of the way that they communicate with the crew is very, very relaxed, very playful. It keeps them on their toes. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm assigning an acting technique to them, but it keeps them on their toes. And then when the cameras turn on, there's a coolness and there's a calm, and similarly with Mark Rylance, there was this. We were always gambling between takes. He had these different types of like dominoes and some sort of like Asian dice game and stuff that we would play, and then they go rolling, and he would sort of just go completely zen, like boo. And you could feel his breath. That's how deep it was. I mean, I think breath is vital. I was doing a play recently, and those last 5 minutes when they call the five and I had to begin the play. The play opened. I was behind the curtain. It's the most terrified I've ever been in my life. And you realize how little you breathe. Because you care so much and you want it to be good, and please laugh at that thing that I said in rehearsals. And so just breathing, calming, soothing after the sort of the playfulness, keeping those things in balance. Hopefully you surprise yourself.
Oh, that's so good. Round Top Film Festival, thank you so much. These are wonderful people, and we should give them awards.
Oh boy.
Let's give them some awards.